Echo Night Beyond is a first-person horror game set on a lunar base and follows the story of Richard Osmond, who ends up in a shuttle crash while on his way to his honeymoon. After he wakes up, he dons his spacesuit and searches for survivors. Atmosphere. Exploring the lunar base is tense. There's a lot of suspense and dread as you navigate the narrow, darkened corridors with just the sound of your own footsteps and breathing. It feels like you're constantly waiting for something to happen. The base itself is dark, dusty, and very eerie. There's next to no music playing throughout the game, and the creepy silence is sometimes overwhelming. There's a lot of reverb put on things too, which gives the place a sense of its size and how cold and metallic it is. The spacesuit provides a real feeling of bulkiness when combined with the PlayStation 2 controls. It's slow, difficult to maneuver, but at the same time it feels fragile when going in and out of airlocks. In the vacuum of space, there's this feeling of being vulnerable as there's only a thin bit of glass between you and certain death. The fog that plagues many of the hallways reduces your visibility quite a lot, and it's difficult to see ghosts until you're right in front of them, by which point it's hard to run away. Luckily though, ghosts can be tracked on the monitor room cameras, and some fog-filled rooms just don't have ghosts in them. The game's flashlight runs on batteries, and some areas are next to impossible to traverse without the searchlight, but the batteries for it are pretty much everywhere, which is a bit of a missed opportunity in my opinion. Thanks to the environmental sounds and its slow pace, it's really engaging and immersive. That's one Harry Mason. Scares. Echo Night Beyond works around the concept that Richard's heart rate is his health meter, and contact with ghosts, especially hostile ones, will cause it to rise until he dies of a heart attack. On top of his heart rate rising, his vision seems to dim as well, and combined with the clunky controls, it causes panic, because you can't always see what's frightening Richard, and it's hard to move away from it before you die, because it's just difficult to see where you're going. In my opinion, the heart rate meter is a fantastic mechanic for ensuring the player feels the same fear the character does. As soon as Richard panics, the player will too, trying to find out why Richard is panicking. The only problem with it is its use. The game often puts essential things and puzzles to progress in the same room as hostile ghosts, and unless you already know what to do, you'll die many times through experimenting, which can trivialize dying. Besides the main mechanic, there's a few brief jump scares and a handful of creepy moments, including the child ghost who puts handprints on Richard's helmet, which freaked me out because I didn't know what was happening, and I found it really unsettling when it was revealed the child had been sitting on Richard's shoulders the whole time. Sometimes Richard will encounter a friendly ghost, but his heart rate hikes up until he engages with it and calms down. But there were moments where I thought I was alone in the elevator and his heart rate increased dramatically, and I never saw anyone, which was just disconcerting. The game spaces these moments out, but the latter half of the game has considerably fewer of them, and as the game draws to a close, there's no hostile ghost left to deal with, meaning the game gets less frightening as it goes along. Overall though, Echo Night Beyond provides a lot of unique, frightening moments, even if most of it is at the start. That's 2 Harry Masons. Sound design. There's a music box rendition of Moonlight Sonata and some incidental strings during the cutscenes, but that's it. The game's metallic silence is its most memorable trait, next to the ghosts. The sound effects are all really great, from the deep whirring sounds of the doors to the whooshing noise the airlocks make, the computer voices and the electric sparks of broken machinery. It's all really nicely done stuff that enhances the immersion further. The voice acting is sometimes a little wooden, and there's some translation errors in the subtitles, but it's far from a deal breaker. That's 3 Harry Masons. Gore. For the number of ghosts, it was disappointing to see so few bodies. The ones that were there were a little creepy, but it would have been better to see how these people died, maybe include a little bit of environmental storytelling. As it is, it feels lacking somehow. That's still 3 Harry Masons. Story. Richard Osmond ends up in a shuttle crash on the way to his honeymoon and searches the lunar base for his newlywed wife. However, a strange fog has filled the halls and has turned the ghosts caught in it hostile. The ghosts and their stories are quite sad to hear, as some of them fail to understand that they've died, with people looking for other people, some of them work-obsessed even after death, and some of them having trinkets laying around saying that they have family back on Earth waiting for them. Some of it's heartbreaking.
Dear Daddy, how are things on the moon? We've got big news for you today. Mommy delivered a baby boy on May 24th. He is so cute. So you have to come home soon so you can see the new baby. I'll be sure to send you a picture of him when I send this doll. See you soon and take care of yourself. We really miss you lots. Love you, Daddy.
Whilst Richard's story seems a bit more predictable on the surface, as there are points where it feels the game is pretty much telling you what has become of your wife before meeting her at the end, there's also the red crystal and multiple endings along the way, with the true origin of the chief of the facility who used a stone to make a wish at the cost of someone's life. There is a lot going on, but most of it depends on how many flashbacks you discover whilst searching the monitor room cameras, which is totally optional, making it very easy to miss certain essential developments in the story and missing it altogether. But even if it is easy to miss, the story is still really interesting, even if you just count the ghost stories on their own. Making the final score 4 out of 5 Harry Masons. Whilst the first half of the game is uniquely frightening, the latter half focuses more on the story and everything starts making more sense. It's an interesting and atmospheric game, but sometimes it can be a little irritating when you're forced over and over to go through areas with hostile ghosts to try and accomplish tasks. Again, I'd like to remind you this whole thing is down to my opinion in horror games. If you don't share this opinion, then that's cool. I get it. I'd like to point out that whilst I was scared by ghost kids, I certainly did not scream like a banshee or run away from the computer, and I advise you don't either. There will be more horror reviews in the pipeline, and thanks for watching. And always go check out Bumps in the middle of the night. Peace.